This is Dewan L. Hearn, more affectionately known as the Moon, and this is Moon Eagles Wrestling. Today, I'm going to keep it pretty brief, and I'm going to be discussing the beginning and end of WWE's Bad Blood 2024. You know what part? It's Monday morning, and I promised that I would be talking about this. So here I am. I have thoughts, I have opinions, and that's why I have this show, so that I can share them on the platform that I want. Still early, coffee's important. This past Saturday in Atlanta, Georgia, WWE put on Bad Blood 2024. Good show. Good show. Um, there were some notable parts in the middle that I would otherwise be talking about. Um, the botch and the finish of the women's world championship match, um, the crown jewel thing, the crown jewel championship situation there, uh, Balor and Priest, and the Bailey Nia Jax match. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and just discuss that because it's really brief on those parts. The rest of what I have to say is about the beginning and the end. Um, I'll say that the Nia Jax Bailey match was clunky. That's the word I've been using to describe it. It was clunky. I don't. Some people out here got their thoughts and their opinions. Listen, I don't blame Bailey. I don't blame Nia Jax. It's wrestling. And sometimes two good wrestlers go out. And it's not some they did not put out on a stinker, but the match was clunky. I do like the way they're creatively creating this rift between Tiffany Stratton and Nia Jax. The briefcase on the ground being just randomly picked up by the referee as Nia Jax sits up was really good. It was great to set up what the assumed visual was, and that works for me. I like that in storytelling, so I'm gonna give that a cool thumbs up in that match. The rest of the match got clunky. I think that they at some point got off rhythm, and they just never had the opportunity to properly reset. I think it's fine. I'm not going to hold that against Bailey or Nia Jax. Some people want to put it against Nia Jax, and it's not fair, in my opinion. Remember, wrestling is a dance between all the wrestlers involved. So, you know, Balor and Priest was fine. I think the rivalry was okay overall, and I do hope that this gives Priest the opportunity to move forward into a different program, maybe getting himself back in line for the World Heavyweight Championship match. Because honestly, I think it's nice that we got Priest away from the world title for just a little bit. When you don't have people who belong in the world title scene or not actively pursuing that title, having the time away is great. Now they have a chance to reset. Crown Jewel, now the focus is going to be on at presumably Cody Gunther, pending tonight's Monday Night Raw. Um, it gives Priest a chance to find another rival that's also in that title picture and move forward. Honestly, I would kind of like to see Priest and Braun Strowman. If I want to just kind of pull a matchup, from under this hat, uh, then yeah, I like to see Priest and Braun Strowman. I mean, they don't have to be rivals per se. It just has to be them two both aiming towards the world title. And I think you can get some good matches out of Priest and Braun Strowman. You can really give Priest a chance to highlight and Braun a chance to shine and go towards the world title. Who wins? I don't know. My money back on Priest. Looking at the women's world title match, I would say a lot more. Um, I'm not even as mad about the botch ending because that was supposed to be a interference pin, 1, 2, 3, slimy pin kind of thing, not a DQ. Props to the referee for doing what was right for the optics. Um, I just don't always like interference uh, endings. I think this one made sense, generally speaking. Welcome back, Raquel. Um, she was going through a lot, and I'm glad to see that she's back full time and doing better. So shout out to Raquel, but she could have come in after the match, regardless of who was winning. That was on par to being my favorite match of the night. The botch ending kind of screwed it. The fact that it was a false finish screwed it for me. That would have been my match of the night because it was a really good match, and both Rhea and Liv were just doing an amazing job. Now, on to the subject at hand. The real reason why I'm recording this video Monday morning. There was a lot of conversation prior to Bad Blood about whether or not the main event should have been the tag match with Roman and Cody or the Hell in a Cell match with Drew and Punk. A lot of people have defended, including WWE, that the finish should have been the tag match. And obviously, it was the tag match. And it was one of those other things are happening in this match. So this is why it has to be on last for those last punches. The return of Jimmy Uso and the appearance of The Rock. These are the things that put the tag match over the Hell in a Cell match. Given how it all played, I'm gonna go on a limb and say they made the wrong call. Hindsight being 2020, I'm gonna flat out say WWE made the wrong call. Here's why. My argument for the Hell in a Cell match is pretty basic, if I'm being completely honest. Um, the argument is the rivalry was almost a year long. Drew had his first reaction in November of last year. We are in October of this year. 11 months has passed. And this is the culmination of that feud that got extended primarily because of injury, but it still got extended. And it was lasting 11 months. 11 months of Drew McIntyre winning the world title at WrestleMania, losing the world title at WrestleMania, getting screwed out of this opportunity and that opportunity, got screwed out of the number one contendership the following day. He got screwed out of this match and that title, this thing. And that was a blood feud. And that should have closed the show. It was worthy of the main event. The way they played it, trying to make Hell in a Cell that meaningful of a match again, worked. It worked with the efforts of CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. And it deserved the main event. The amount of blood shed throughout that match, deserved deserved the main event spot. Honestly, just for cleanup purposes, you just close the show at that point. Um, and I won't go so far as to say it's a spit in the face of Drew McIntyre and CM Punk. And you can make the argument that they were so passionate against each other that they just had to fight each other as soon as possible. I'm not buying that. That's the main event. It should have been the main event. And I will stand by that, period. My argument against the tag match, bell to bell, tag match was fine. Uh, bell to bell, I liked like seeing the interaction between Cody and Roman, where they were partners because they had a common goal, but they were still reluctant and distrusting of each other until they got into the rhythm and things worked because they realized we do have the same goal. Things are working here. um, interactions between all the combinations. Uh, Cody and Jacob, Jacob and Roman, Cody and Solo, Roman and Solo. Those combos were they worked in every combination. Everything was killing. And I know I've said this is an argument against the tag match, and it sounds like I'm praising it because I am. It's a good match. My problems are one, we don't have a rivalry that strong. Let me be clear. In the entirety of the time that Solo has been rolling around as tribal chief, Roman's not been around. Cody's been dealing with it, but Roman hasn't. And working side by side, this is a brand new thing. This has only been up for a minute. Roman's been back for about a month, and that's how long this has ultimately been brewing. I know the Bloodline storyline is right now like the bread and butter of WWE. It's the longest a storyline has gone without immediately going stale. There were some stale parts over the last 4 or some odd years, but it's still good and it's still evolving and it's still growing. New chapters are still being literally and figuratively written. The stories are good. It's just I don't think that it was to the par of the Hell in a Cell match. To the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff, I can't say how happy I am to see an HBCU get that stage. Understand that a the marching band of an HBCU, a historically black college university, to have this international stage to perform based off a clip on on the internet. It's like, hey, we decided to do a thing. They're like, hey, you did that thing. We like it. Come through. To give that opportunity to the HBCU, bravo. Absolutely bravo. I love to see it. I want to see more opportunities given to HBCUs, if anything, to highlight the value within HBCUs, to show that being labeled a historically black college or university is not some kind of weird social stigma that should be politicized. It is it was a necessity of the time, and for the comfort and for the execution of black studies, it's vital. And they have programs that are just as good as any other mainstream university. It is opportunities like this that highlight that. But if you're going to play the theme and Cody's not going to come out while you're playing it, and then they're going to play the music afterwards, stop playing. Put them down. Them down. The entrances were clunky. Romans was okay with the Georgia Philharmonic, but with the marching band trying to play at the same time as the cued music, the cued music not playing when it was supposed to, the whole thing started off, again, to use the word, clunky. I don't immediately blame any one part. I'll just be honest. I don't blame any one part. I'm not saying any one part is good, bad, or indifferent. I am saying thank you for the opportunity for the HBCU. It did not work in the end. If they did it the day before, the day after, it probably would have worked perfectly smooth. If they did it tonight, I think it would work out fantastic. I don't think it worked on Saturday. And that to me threw things off. Now, I know none of this seems like an argument against it being the main event, but that boils down to this. Jimmy's return could have been done at the beginning of the show. And honestly, in my opinion, I think it should. As someone who's a writer and a wrestling fan, and I think about how I would have put that story together, I would have had this tag match open the show. And with Cody and Roman winning, Cody can be carted off to a medical facility after his injuries, and that's fine. You can have him come back near the end of the night. Okay, he's fine, whatever. You need that for the, or you can have him being beat up in the back and then lead to the Kevin Owens angle. Or if you haven't seen the Kevin Owens angle video, I don't know where you've been, but Kevin Owens jumped Cody Rhodes after the show, and now the clip is viral, and that's storyline progression. So that the heel turn didn't necessarily have to happen in the ring. A whole lot for that. Other people can talk about that. You could have that angle be why Cody left. All of that could have happened earlier in the show. KO didn't have a match. All that could have happened earlier in the show. With Jimmy's return, Jay is present in that VIP room. They could have interviewed Jay and said, "Hey Jay, how do you feel about your brother being back?" It's like, I don't know. I haven't had a chance to talk to him. I didn't know he was coming. Maybe I should go see him, right? Then later you have Jimmy and Jay, the Usos return just for a conversation and a hug. Roman walks around. And you have that visual of Roman, Jimmy, and Jay Uso just there together. And that's it. Maybe that's it. Maybe you don't do anything else tonight. But to have that visual on screen would have been worth a lot more than what we got eventually out of The Rock showing up, saying nothing, doing nothing. The Rock's appearance was 100% to me absolutely wasted. One, small gripe. I don't like the edit of his music with the theme and then the break and then the slower theme, the Hollywood theme with the final. It's too long. It's clunky. He's already out. I feel like it's that. No, don't do that. That's bad. It doesn't work for me. Um, but The Rock did literally nothing. Showed up, did some stuff with his hands. I don't know if he was trying to be an interpreter, being facetious. Um, Cued his music to start, and then left. Yeah, sure, he did the cutthroat thing, but that was still so ambiguous that nothing was told. Nothing was progressed. He just showed up for the sake of showing up. It's like him showing up was enough to bump the Drew McIntyre CM Punk Hell in a Cell match to that kept it from the main event because The Rock showed up, not to progress storyline, not to to move forward with this, that, and third. We don't know. Officially, we don't know. He said nothing. He did a 5-minute promo released on social media. And the 5-minute promo released on social media, he again said absolutely nothing. Further criticizing, about 3 minutes in, he got somebody to start playing music. I had a hard time even hearing what The Rock had to say because Homeboy was playing his boombox. So the last 2 minutes of The Rock's nothing, I couldn't even bother to hear it. And to me, none of that was worth taking the main event spot away from the Hell in a Cell match because it didn't progress nothing forward. And there were missed opportunities with having Jimmy and Jay together in the same spot. Jay is on Raw. Jimmy still contracted SmackDown along with Roman. So we're not going to have them interacting again potentially until Crown Jewel. So much could have been done by having the tag match at the beginning, Jimmy and Roman running into Jay, because Jay would have known where they were. You could have gone to them or purposely avoided them, however you want the story to bend. If we're going to get to this OG bloodline reunion thing anyway, we might as well have done it here, starting here. And we could have done that if the tag match was first and Hell in a Cell was last. And I think having a bloody CM Punk, his face, closing the show would have been a much better closing image than having stared at The Rock, who had otherwise done absolutely. Some people are really behind this, and that's cool. Some people think that it was genius, it was great and fantastic. Sure. I'm not here to rain on anybody else's parade or whatever expression you want to fill in at the time. But this did not work for me story wise. You know, story is important. That's what wrestling is. Wrestling is theater. It's the greatest form of theater. And I've said that a million times, and I'll say it a million times more. And I don't think that the match order for main event and um, for the main event and the opener, I don't think it was right. I think the story would have been overall better told in reverse. And we did not need The Rock. It's always good to see The Rock when The Rock shows up to do something. And he didn't. So, that being said, if you enjoyed this much shorter video, feel free to give the channel a subscribe, give this video a like, ring the notification bell so you know when I start putting stuff out. Being this channel is for like all of my video content, you'll get notifications on like everything. I think it's a way to personalize it, but that's fine. That's cool. Um, Here soon, I have some really cool um, video projects involving movies coming. So feel free to like this channel. Find the Socko and the Moon channel. It's a great podcast that I'm also a part of. Find that Socko and the Moon. That link will probably be in the description because why not? Um, yeah, and I think that's it. Oh, while we're here, I guess you could go ahead and check out some of the other videos that I have. You can subscribe to the channel. I think over here, and I think over here will be my review and discussion the McMahon documentary. That's in 4 parts, but that should be part one, and then down here should be my interview with wrestling fan and author John Cosper. You should watch that video. That's a pretty good interview. Great guy. Yeah, that's it. Um, have a good one.